I coached wrestling, and that's kind of when I had the epiphany of like, this is not going to work. I want to travel the world. I'm young. I don't want to go to graduate school because I knew physical therapists only made between $70,000 a year and $100,000 a year, which I thought was a ton of money back then. But now I know $100,000 a year ain't. And so I'm like, I'm not going to give up 3 years of my life, go $150,000 in debt. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to live in my car and I'm going to do what Reezy Resell says. I'm going to go to these thrift stores.
E-commerce is the greatest business opportunity of our generation.
All right, welcome back to the Ecom Unlimited podcast. I am Josh, and this is going to be Kaj. We are the hosts. We are welcoming Romer today from Nashville, Tennessee. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Romer, and how you got started with Amazon.
Yeah, so years ago, I started selling my textbooks when I was in college, and I wrestled in college, so all the wrestlers would give me their textbooks, and then other athletes would give me their textbooks. I went to a school that had about 80% athletes. So like the swim team, the volleyball team, everyone would just not give me their textbooks, but I would take their textbooks and sell them on consignment. I didn't even know what consignment was back then, but I would sell their books, didn't have cash. And I said, hey, I'll pay you when they sell. So that's how I started selling on Amazon. And then I saw that FBA was like a big thing. I think Reezy Resells kept making these FBA, videos. And it's almost like Amazon's low key kind of like an MLM scheme, like everyone's trying to get you to make shipments and do this and that. I'm like, why is this guy so scammy? Reezy Resells. Shout out Reezy Resells. Like he's speaking at my conference now. But I was like, why is he trying to get me to send an FBA shipment so hard? But I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna listen to him. He's making YouTube videos about it. And so I sent all my textbooks FBA, and they sold pretty quickly. And so for anyone that doesn't know what FBA is, it's when you pack your items in a box, ship them to Amazon, and Amazon handles all the shipping, prepping, packing, all that. So then I went to my library in college and I saw a bunch of free books on the shelves just for free. Take them. And so I took all of them, put them in a box, followed the Reezy Resells video, and shipped them all Amazon FBA. And so obviously,
so wait, real quick, what year is this?
This is 2016-ish.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then I didn't realize that like half those books would never sell, or probably 70% of them just had terrible sales ranks. But I shipped them all and I thought I was a genius. I got lucky though, because all the textbooks on campus were recent additions. So I didn't need like SellerAmp or Scout IQ, an app, to tell me how quickly they sold. They were just fast selling. So I got lucky in that regard. And then the most I ever spent, I was really proud of myself, took a $700 loan from my dad, spent it in like one weekend on textbooks. Everyone was bringing me their books. And then I flipped them. I paid my dad back like a couple weeks later.
Nice.
And that's when I realized like, hey, this business model works. Then I started a landscaping business, did all right with that. And then I coached wrestling and I got paid $1,500 for 3 months of hard work doing my passion. And I was like, this ain't gonna work. I still coach wrestling. It's actually my first year coaching wrestling since I started. I guess that was 2018. So in 2018, I coached wrestling. And that's kind of when I had the epiphany of like, this is not gonna work. I want to travel the world. I'm young. I don't want to go to graduate school because I knew physical therapists only made between $70,000 a year and $100,000 a year, which I thought was a ton of money back then. But now I know $100,000 a year ain't. And so I'm like, I'm not going to give up 3 years of my life, go $150,000 in debt. I'm like, screw this. I'm going to live in my car and I'm going to do what Reezy Resell says. I'm going to go to these thrift stores. I'm going to find books and ship them to Amazon. It worked for me in college. I could probably make it work now. So I take out the front seat of my Toyota Corolla. I put a wrestling mat down, piece of plywood, wrestling mat, and then like a 4x4, and that was my bed. So I took the front seat out and it just laid this down. Now, I'm 6 foot, so I was able to lay down and put my feet like in the trunk and sleep at night. I start heading west from Nashville, and I'm hitting up libraries, thrift stores, and I'm just using back then I was using FBA Scan was the name of the app, and I would just scan all the books on the shelf. I would take whatever turned green, put it in my car, wait till I get about 2 boxes filled with books, which was generally between $500 and $600 profit, if not more. And I would ship them to Amazon FBA. I would go to a Starbucks, list them, ship them Amazon FBA. And I would just do that over and over again. And then I drove all the way to California. And then I actually met Reezy, Caleb Roth, who's now like one of my best friends, and a lot of other people. Like I met this girl from MIT and she was selling books. So the combination of meeting a girl from MIT who thought it was a smart idea to sell books, and then she was doing like 300,000 a year, just online arbitrage. And then Caleb Roth, who quit his job making 6 figures as a medical sales. He was like on a medical sales team or something. Pretty good job. And he quit his job to pursue selling used books. And then I met some kids doing like Nike shoe sales and shit. And I was like, wow, like this is like actually doable. I could probably do this like for the rest of my life if I dedicate myself to this. And so that kind of like turned the key in my head from like a side hustle to allow me to travel America, living in my car homeless, to maybe I could make this whole thing work. And I used to work a pedicab job downtown Nashville. I would ride a pedicab, which is like a giant tricycle with like
On the back. Yeah.
and
That's
I would
hilarious.
take people around. And shout out to my boss. My boss actually was like, "Hey, you should check out Gary Vee." And I'm like, okay. And so I started watching Gary Vee, and Gary Vee was like, document. And so I was documenting everything, dude. Like I was documenting the tricycle journey. I was documenting me living in my car. And I was just like, oh, I see Reezy doing this book thing. Maybe I could document it. And I was like, all right, let me try. And nobody gave a shit when I first started. Like for the first 40 plus videos, nobody cared. You can go back and look at my YouTube. And but as time went on, more and more people followed me. I went on certain YouTubers' channels, shout out Rake and Profit, drove all the way up to his place and shot some videos with him. He got me to over 1,000 subs on YouTube. And then I launched a business called restrictedinventory.com. And that was like when I made my first 6 figures profit, because everybody was sending me textbooks that they couldn't sell that I could. So the whole Amazon community from YouTube, Facebook, they couldn't sell textbooks, but I could because I had a grandfathered in account because I'd been selling textbooks since I was in college. And after 2017, Amazon wouldn't let any new accounts sell textbooks. So everybody would just send me their textbooks. I would sell them for them at a 50-50 split net profit. And that allowed me to get to like 350,000 in sales my second year. So it went from me living in my car, posting on social media, building a small following, and then leveraging that following to get books sent to me, and then did 350K in sales. And probably about 100K of that was just thrifting. And then the other 250K that year was restricted inventory. And then after that, we did $1 million in sales the year after. So that's kind of my story.
Man,
That is really cool.
what a story.
Yeah.
And I kind of knew most of that already just from, seeing you on social media and being at Miami's conference last year.
So how long were you on like the road for? Like
3 months.
Okay, 3 months. Okay, cool.
Sleeping in my car, truck stops, Walmart parking lot. I would go to National Forest, sleep there. That was when I started salsa dancing too. And I was so bad at salsa dancing back then. It was a hard thing for me to do. At that phase of my life, I was all about doing hard things. Like, I'm going to live in my car. I'm going to start my business from scratch. I'm going to figure this shit out. I remember being like buzzed drunk after college and just being in the car. And I'm like, this is so amazing. Like, I'm going to figure this out. And I had no idea what I was going to do, but I just had this feeling in my chest, like, I'm going to figure this out. And then like, I was just selling used books, and that was like my way of figuring it out, And so, yeah. What was the question again? I forgot.
No, it's just like how long you were on the road. So you're on the road for 3 months. That's crazy.
3 months. And then, salsa dancing, that was like terrible for me. So I would like go into clubs. I'd be like by myself. And it was just like nerve wracking to do that. So I was like going through this phase of doing things that scared me. I had like a whole list of things that I was going to bang out, and I did most of them. But one I didn't do was I went to Cape Cod in Boston or wherever. Is that Boston?
I think it's northeast.
Went there at 3 a.m. after salsa dancing. That was when I got kind of good at salsa dancing. Had a great night. And then I'm like, all right, it's time to get over my fear of sharks. So I drive to Cape Cod and I park my car in the lot, and I go to the beach, and I just see these huge waves coming in. And my plan was to swim 100 yards out, and then a few yards down, and then come back up, and then swim back to the shore at nighttime. And I was like, I'm going to look up shark attacks like in this exact little bay and just make sure. And I looked it up, and there was 10 shark attacks in the last 100 years there. And I'm like, I'm not going to take the risk. I'm like, this is a fear to get over. Like, this is probably a good fear. And so I learned that some fears were good to have.
So is that why you made the decision to live in your car? Was it more so because of the adventure, or because
it was definitely for the travel? I wanted to, I think some people have this urge just to like see the whole world. And I have that very strongly.
Okay.
And at a young age, I kind of did the math, and I'm like, if I go to grad school and I get the job as a physiotherapist, like I'm going 4 weeks a year vacation, like is not going to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'd rather just be homeless, making not that much money. And I'd rather be able to see my whole country. And then the next plan was to either drive to like Central America or somewhere else. But now that I have more money, I can, like, I worked in Mexico all last year. I went to Cuba, Puerto Rico, Colombia, which honestly wasn't that expensive because those countries are so cheap to live in. And so, but at the time I had no money. So I was like, let me just start with my own country. Like I'm already 22, 23 years old. Like if I don't do this now, before I know it, I'll be 26, 27, getting older, and I hadn't traveled at all. And that was a huge fear of mine. So I'm like, fuck it. I don't care if I have money. I'm going to make it work.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. Just diving on in. Yeah. Is there any time like you thought that, you know, I feel like you start Amazon, you like, awesome, this is going great. And then you hit like a spot where it's like, I mean, we've heard of like accounts getting suspended, you know, like people like losing their accounts. Was there any time where you're like, maybe this isn't going to work out? Like, this is a little bit scary. Like,
Yeah,
like
there's
that?
definitely like 6 times that happened.
like what were some like things that like got you through those times?
Yeah. So the first time it happened was 2019, and I was so immature, and I did my first 80,000 in sales. I probably made 20, 25 grand profit. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like, this is what it feels like to be an entrepreneur. Then my Amazon account gets shut down immediately because I got counterfeit claims for the textbooks. The brand that owns a law firm that represents the brand did a test buy on my account. And one of the books I was selling on consignment for the whole community was counterfeit. And then they immediately shut my account down. And in hindsight, it was a very nice shutdown because they only shut me down for 6 weeks. They gave me my account balance, and then I was back up, but I couldn't sell textbooks anymore. In hindsight, it was
okay. I wasn't aware of that.
So it wasn't even that big of a deal. This is 2019. And then I was like, okay, like, but it was so stressful for me at the time. That was probably more stressful than what happened last year. But last year, we'll get into it. Last year was really tough. And so then I partnered with a friend who was also ungated in textbooks. And for 2 years, we were able to run the operation with no issues at all. Then in 2022, I got all my Amazon accounts shut down because all of them got test buys for textbooks. And not all of my accounts got shut down, but 3 of my accounts. I had like 6 accounts. And so, which is against Amazon terms of service, but they weren't even my accounts. But Amazon considers if you're and this is kind of subjective, but if you're a managing member of an account, they consider that you own it. So just be careful.
Gotcha.
And they shut down those other 3 accounts, which I knew it was a ticking time bomb of a business because my account was grandfathered in to sell textbooks, but I knew the law firm did test buys, and I knew that eventually they would say it's counterfeit, getting my account shut down. And so it was just a cycle of opening accounts, they're going to get counterfeit claims, blah, blah, blah. So like I knew in my head, eventually this business isn't going to work out anymore. And so summer 2022, I'm living in Colombia, and I have a software. Well, actually, don't even want to talk about that. But basically, I knew that I was about to get shut down. Let me just put it that way. Like I knew that, these 2 accounts I have left are toast. I didn't know when they're going to be toast, but and that's almost worse. Like when you know something bad can happen, you know,
just waiting for it. Like,
so I'm going to sleep in Colombia at night. I'm trying to do so many things at once. Like I'm dancing 2 hours salsa a day. I'm learning Spanish. I'm starting an online arbitrage business because that was my backup business. My online arbitrage business was because I knew my book business was about to go down. And so then, long story short, those accounts do get shut down. All my accounts are shut down except for one, and that was my online arbitrage account. So I'm like, good, still making money doing this. And then I actually partnered with somebody. So if you guys go to restrictedinventory.com, that's my business. It's still in business today because we partnered with an Amazon account that could sell textbooks. So they're approved by the brand. Their warehouse has been inspected. Amazon trusts them, the brand trusts them. And so that's my partner now.
I'm assuming they're doing inspections on counterfeit.
Yeah, they're doing like in-depth. Like the brand went to their warehouse and like made sure that they have like authentic versions of the book versus counterfeit so that their team can check. Like it's a very thorough process.
That's legit.
Yeah. So that kept that business alive, and that'll still probably make me between 60 and 100 grand a year, like net profit. So that's nice. It's not like what it used to be. I used to make 150 to 200 grand a year with it. And that was like, as a young 20-year-old, like that money's nice. And keep in mind, I'm not paying for any of the inventory. So
Right.
like that's just money coming
The
in.
cash flow is way better.
Exactly. So, but my online arbitrage business is still cranking. And then going into 2023, I love this phrase. It's just because you're done with your past doesn't mean your past is done with you. Think about that. And so, it feels like when you tell a story about like all the bad things that happened to you, that it's all done with. It doesn't mean that's the case. And 2023 was a great example of that. So I got my online arbitrage business was doing well, but I actually got a wholesale opportunity. And I was like, let me just pursue this because the product's way better. Like Amazon, you guys know this, like it's all about putting your money where the most return is as quickly as possible.
Yep.
And so I'm like, this wholesale opportunity is bringing me 50 to 100% return on my investment, which is really good. And the inventory is selling really fast. Let me take my foot off the gas with OA for a second and pursue this. And then the money was so good. I'm like, I'm not going to sell courses anymore. I'm going to just do this. And I don't even care about restricted inventory. Like we'll just let that business run. So I'm in Mexico City that summer and finally get up to like 25,000 in like net profit per month. And from the wholesale. And I'm like, okay, like I'm back up. Like I'm back to where I used to be. Like these numbers are nice. Like it didn't feel as good as a restricted inventory cash because you guys know this. Like when you're always putting money back in the business, like you can make 25 grand profit in a wholesale business, feel like you didn't make anything.
Right.
But at least on the books, it looks good but you always have to invest more. But anyway, like I'm like, all right, like I'm finally back. And then I go to Costa Rica from Mexico City to Costa Rica on an Amazon retreat with my best friend, Taylor Jones, and a few of our students or followers. And then I get the notification on my phone that's like, your Amazon selling account. And keep in mind, this is the sixth time this has ever happened to me. So I get another account shut down and I'm like, God just does not want me to be an Amazon seller. Like this is a sign. Like, and the reason why they shut that account down was because they connected it to all my other accounts that had been shut down.
How did they connect it? Was it emails? Was it IP address? How addresses? What was it?
So the last time I think it was because I sold books on the account and I had logged into the same device on all the accounts. I had done like everything you're not supposed to do. And this was technically my employee's account, but the accounts were all linked. I logged into all the accounts because I never thought I was really doing anything wrong. Like I knew it was technically in terms of search, but I didn't look at this as like, I'm doing something bad. I'm like, oh, like if I talk to an Amazon rep, they'll understand what I'm doing. I never looked at it as like, oh, I'm going to be screwed. And so I sold a few used books on that account. And I think when Avery Martin, that's my name, when I sell books on Amazon, I think they just like assume that I'm selling counterfeits again because they've gotten it
linked it once.
12 test buys from me that say I sell counterfeit books. I just don't think they trust me. And I settled with the brand too. Like I paid them and they gave me my account back once I paid them. But then I don't want to make it too complicated, but it is complicated. The account that I paid to get back got shut down for being linked to another account that was shut down. But the only reason why this account was shut down was because this account was shut down. So it was like circular logic. And all the accounts were shut down for being linked to each other being shut down. When really like I got the account.
The one that started the chain, you got fixed.
Yeah.
But
and now like nobody can figure it out. I tried Riverbank Consulting. They sucked. I tried Seller Basics told me no. So shout out Seller Basic. They were like, oh, you can't get your accounts back. So at least they told me the truth. And then I'm kind of working with someone now, but I don't really care because I have new accounts that I'm selling on. Like I'm never going to log into the same device again. So I have two accounts that I'm selling on now. We're doing about I'm probably doing about 20,000 in sales. We're doing 50,000 total last 30 days. So it's nice. I
don't think I've ever heard of someone who's had that many accounts shut down.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly though, props to you for keeping it moving because seriously. I know even for us, we haven't had our account shut down, but when we were doing private label, we were our product was falsely categorized as something we weren't allowed to sell. So that listing got shut down for a while and that felt like the end of the world. And there was another time where, they got us it wasn't an IP complaint. It was something during COVID. And then we were temporarily suspended and it was maybe a week or two, but again, felt like the end of the world, but it's like, there's always a way. There's always,
it always does. Yeah. And that last time it happened was so rough because it had already happened like 5 times before. And I finally felt like, and that was my last stream of income.
Yeah.
I was out of income. Nothing. I made a pact with myself. I'm not going to sell courses anymore. I'm going to give all the information away for free. You guys can go to starthumble.com. That's a course. I've sold 1,000 of these courses for $400. Don't charge for it anymore. I don't even do private coaching. And so I made that agreement with myself. I'm not going to sell information. GoToLister was only bringing, it wasn't profitable. Like I was paying my developer $8,000 a month, and we weren't bringing.
Well, let's talk about GoToLister real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why did you start it? What does it do? And what's your goal for it?
Yeah. So originally I started it in 2020 because running restricted inventory, there was no software that routed restricted inventory to like an alternative solution. So I wanted to make a listing software that routed your software, that routed your books you couldn't sell to like a place where you could sell them. That was originally the goal. Then as I started making it, for the first year, I worked with Indians overseas, obviously. And it was terrible working with them. Like they don't understand Amazon. You would tell them to do something and they would do it, but they would lack the common sense that like when you scan the item, it needs to print the F and SKU immediately. Like they just didn't get little things that an Amazon seller would get. So worked with them for a year. They wouldn't work weekends. If there was a bug, they wouldn't wake up to fix it at 3 a.m. And so they actually flew to America, and I met them in Miami, and I was like, you guys absolutely suck. I told this to their face. I'm like, you guys are terrible. And he got in my Toyota Corolla, and I'm driving this guy who's been like, I've been paying him thousands of dollars a month to build this software. And he's like, why are you driving a Toyota Corolla? I thought you made more money than this. And I'm like, dude, I'm paying you all my money. Drop off at his hotel, and I tell him I'm never going to work with him again. But nice guy. Like I would have drinks with him, but I'm just like, you guys suck. It's just like from a business perspective, you guys suck at business. Nice person, whatever. And then I partnered with my current developer. He's got equity and he's an Amazon seller. He does wholesale and online arbitrage, and he recoded GoToLister from scratch. And so when he recoded it, we made it faster. It's factually the fastest listing software that exists. So you're able to list as many books as you want. Like you can scan theoretically like hundreds of books in like just a few minutes, where no other software, all the other softwares rely on Amazon to return the F and SKU, where we allow you to queue your scans in. So even if Amazon's response time is slow, you can have like 4 or 5 ISBNs waiting, which is important for booksellers because there's a bunch of different books with different, essentially UPCs, the ISBNs. So that was the first thing we did. And then we've made the layout like super simple. So compared to like Inventory Lab, AccelerList, it's much more like Apple compared to Microsoft. Like it's very, very simple. And then what we're working on now is like end of year net profit reports and a better lister for online arbitrage and wholesale sellers. So that's really what our focus is, because we believe that's going to be like our target audience at the end of the day. So, but we've made the best product in my opinion for booksellers, and now we're growing to. We probably have about 10% of our users being OA right now, but we want that to become like the majority OA and wholesale. So,
gotcha. Nice.
Yeah.
So then when you were starting the development process, I'm assuming this is your first time building a software.
Yeah.
So when you were picking developers, like, was there a specific reason why you went India, or like, did you have people personally that you know who were able to do software and they were just too expensive?
Referrals are huge, right? And so the girl that went to MIT, smart ass person, referred this team to me, and they ended up being terrible. And we both kind of got screwed. She didn't know how bad they were, and I didn't know how bad they were. But I learned one of the biggest lessons, I think, in my business life, and that is like people are going to do what they want to do. And what I mean by that is like I partnered with somebody from my Instagram following DM'd me. And so you guys could take advantage of this if you ever wanted to start a software. He DM'd me and he's like, hey, I'm a developer. And no, he didn't even introduce himself as that. He said, hey, I have a software, and it was called upcscout.com. And he was like, can you promote this to your audience? And I was just like really intrigued. I'm like, this dude just built a software by himself. And I still get DMs like this to this day. And I'm like, I'm intrigued. Like, let me look into this. And it was actually like a pretty cool software. Like it was like Scan Unlimited. Like you put the UPC list in and it tells you how much profit. It's like a wholesale list runner, whatever it's called, scraper. And he never got any customers for it, but it was a beautiful user interface, nice looking software, and it was functional. And so I just messaged him like, dude, I'm like, will you help me with my software? And he was like, what is it? And I explained, I'm like, I want to make a listing software better. And then originally it was just for booksellers, but the fact that he's an online arbitrage and wholesaler, like he is the end user. So he's like, no, Avery, like we need it to be like this. And he's like, they're not going to care about that. Oh, we need expiration dates. Like he's like understand like replenishment. He's understanding all that stuff. And so what I mean by like one of the biggest business lessons I learned was like people are going to do what they're going to do. Like this guy stays up till like 1 a.m. coding half the time. And I just shoot podcasts all day. So I'm going to be the podcaster. I'm going to be the social media guy. Like that's what I've done for the last 5 years. And then he's a coder, and he not only is a coder, but he's also an Amazon seller. So his dream before even working with me was to build an Amazon software,
right?
You know, and so like he's already doing him and I'm already doing me, and we come together. And this is like a huge business principle is like, if you can get somebody who's good at building and somebody who's good at sales and you combine those two together, it's to the moon. Yep. And so you could take that principle and apply it to your Amazon business, whatever business you're going into, but people are going to do what they're going to do. And so if you're going to hire someone in your Amazon business to process a bunch of inventory, don't hire someone who like worked a job as a waiter, because they're used to talking to people, getting tips, things like that. Hire someone who like worked as a cashier, because they're used to scanning shit all day. So when they come in your warehouse and they scan shit, they're just going to keep doing what they've been doing. So before I hire anybody, I always ask, like, what does this person actually do? Like, what is their true nature? And the moment you try to take somebody away from their true nature, yeah, maybe sometimes it'll work, but it's very rare that you can force somebody to do something, you know, at scale.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big principle, because people figuring out what someone's strength is and then putting them in a position to succeed at their strength.
Exactly.
Obviously, you can always improve at your weaknesses, but they're not going to compare to your strengths.
Exactly. And that's how we kept restricted inventory alive. I partner with somebody who's selling textbooks and checking them for counterfeits every day. He's already doing it. He's going to do it if I'm not there. Why don't we just partner together? Boom. You're still doing the same thing, and I'm getting you more books. So
exactly. Same philosophy of getting a prep center, right? Like partner with someone whose expertise is in bagging, tagging, and shipping stuff. And then you put your expertise in other places.
Exactly.
So another thing I wanted to ask you about, I remember your episode on the Buy Box Bandits podcast like years ago. And I think yours was the first episode I listened to where you really talked about working with VAs and managing a virtual team. And it kind of opened my mind to that. So now we have a virtual team too, but I'm curious, are you still working with VAs for any of the other businesses? How do you manage?
I couldn't survive without VAs, dude.
Yeah, because I'm assuming you've run so many different businesses, right? You're not doing all of that yourself. So do you have like a right-hand person who does everything for you? Like what's the team structure look like? Yeah,
so I got a right-hand man, literally does everything for me. Then we have a customer service girl, we have a numbers girl, and then a video editor, videographer, whatever. So those are my four. It's actually a pretty lean operation. When we were doing OA, I had a few OA VAs, but now my right-hand man gets 3% of my profits from a certain brand that we sell, because he's responsible for ordering from the wholesaler, making sure that the product's good, making sure it sells through. Sometimes we have to switch ASINs, and it's like such a hassle to deal with. So he gets 3% of all profit just for figuring all of it out. He knows all of it better than me. So my right-hand man is essentially my Amazon VA. He does everything, like plane tickets, hotels. I coach wrestling, so technically I have a job, but he did the job application. He did like all the paperwork. like he just does literally everything for me. He knows me so well. I can call him, and like if I want to go to the dentist, he'll like look in my zip code and find somebody near me. Like he literally does everything for me. He helps post on social media from time to time. He helps hire new people. Like everybody should have a right-hand man. It's only going to cost you, I pay him probably like between $1,200 and $1,500 a month. You don't even need to pay that much starting out. Starting out, you can pay $500 of a right-hand man, but you need somebody who's like a workaholic. And that goes back to my point of like, you can't force someone to do something that's not their nature. But what you have to realize about people is some people just love to work and they work all the time. It's like in their nature to work. And you got to find somebody like that And you can quickly know if they're like that or not by how available are they, how much work, how productive are they. But find somebody like that, that kind of jives with your personality. You can argue with them. Like if you get a little pissy, they can deal with you, because it's going to happen at scale. And then the right-hand man, I think, is like the most important one to figure out. And then everything else is just like common sense. Like if you want to delegate customer service, that's easy. Just make an FAQ. If you want to delegate sourcing, just show them your sourcing method. And I think really what's important with sourcing is you give them like a % profit share. Personally, I think that's the biggest thing is giving them incentive for actually making your business profit. But yeah, and I'm actually working a lot with my video editor now on I'm putting a lot of energy and effort into that relationship, which I feel like I've failed to do that in the past. But I think that's the most important part of my business now is making content. So we're meeting, we're texting like all the time. So
yeah, that's
nice.
really cool.
So most of the people, oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, Kaj. You can go.
I was just going to ask, particularly for the admin, has it been the same guy the whole time, or have you had to go through a couple until?
So I had a really talented guy, super smart guy for a few years, and big shout out to him. He knew me so well. He was so patient and just really intuitive. Like would catch mistakes from me all the time, which I need that.
Yep.
And the problem is he had 6 kids. And so he kept logging in later and later and later until the point where he wouldn't log in for like 2 days sometimes. And I let it go on for way too long. I let it get to that point. And then I just had to talk to him like, dude, I love you, but you're terrible for the business. And I'm probably terrible for your life. Like, let's just split ways. And we did. And I still message him every few months because he was such a big part of my life. But now I have another guy who was hired by that guy. He had been with us for a few years already. And I kind of forced him to be the right-hand man, but this kind of contradicts what I was saying earlier. You can't force somebody to do something, but this guy worked all the time. And so he was always there. And I'm like, dude, you're always there. You're always watching. And now he does like a phenomenal job at the role because he learned who I am. And he just kind of he knows all the ins and outs of all of our businesses. And so it just makes things so much easier. Like if we need like something done with the software, like somebody mentioned something's wrong with the software, I can literally just send them a voice message. I'm like, hey, can you make a task for the software team for restricted inventory and get this done? And then he understands like the nuances of the business that he can make a task on Slack that's actually like meaningful. And that saves me an hour from having to do that. And then on top of that, I don't have to wait for the software team. I don't have to wait for their stupid questions and have to answer them. He's going to he's going to close the whole loop. And so we manage everything in Trello. Every single task I ever give him is documented on cards. And so I can quickly open up his Trello and just see like, oh, there's like way too much. He's got like a year worth of work, which happens. That's why you have to reprioritize. Like with the right-hand man, if you're anything like me, you're going to give him 5 times more work than he's capable of. And that's fine. And we know that. And so we just reprioritize like on a weekly or monthly basis. And so it's impossible for him to get everything done. Just like in your business, your to-do list is always going to be there.
Yeah.
So your right-hand man is just an extension of you. And so you're never going to complete your to-do list, and your right-hand man will probably never complete his. But as long as you guys are on the same page about reprioritizing, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Love that.
And that's like huge with like decision fatigue too. Like, man, that can come into play. Like gets to be like 12, like in the afternoon, and you're already like so tired of making so many decisions. That can help so much.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So what kind of started like the whole Miami conference, like bringing Amazon sellers to get like together? How did that all come about?
Yeah. So big shout out to my co-host, Taylor Jones. It wouldn't exist without him. We went to, well, first of all, I met Taylor because he's a wrestler and he was on TikTok. I saw his ears. His ears were up like mine. And so I knew he had like fighting ears. And it's such a weird story. Like,
That's funny.
Such a weird story. I like interviewed him on my YouTube channel years ago. And then I'm like, dude, you hit me up if you're in Miami. And then like, I knew he was coming to Miami. So like, I just love talking to people. Like I'm a huge UFC fan. Do you guys watch UFC?
I do occasionally. Yeah.
Not much.
I'm just like, I'm huge in talk. And so like, whenever I can, I like try to facilitate that in my own life. And like Taylor's coming to Miami. I'd never met this guy before. And I'm like, I'm going to beat you, man. I'm like, you're a wrestler. I'm a wrestler. We weigh the same. You're an Amazon seller. Like, and I'm like, pick me up. I live downtown Miami in like one of the nicest buildings that all the gurus live in now. It was the Icon. And so he drives to the Icon, picks me up. We drive to the beach, we wrestle. And I took him down 2 times. And so, so that was like the start of our friendship. And I'm like, all right, like now we're best friends. And so we're like, let's see if we like each other or not. Sounds kind of gay, but it's not. We're like, let's move in together. And so we move into we take 1 month. And we're like, let's just see if we like being around each other. 1 month we stayed at Airbnb and we're like this is fun. And but at the Airbnb, some nights we'd have beers or whatever. And he was a big Grant Cardone fan. I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. And we're just talking about events and how they've changed our life. And I used to go to these Amazon events called Turn the Page for booksellers. And they absolutely built my business the way it is. Like, and so I had already kind of had the intention that maybe one day I'll do this. Shout out Caleb Roth for throwing those events. And then Taylor was more like the Grant Cardone side, where he was like, I went to a Grant Cardone event and it changed my life. And we're like, why don't we throw an event? And in the back of my head, I'm like, no fucking way, we're gonna get people to show up. But like Taylor was so enthusiastic about it. I'm like, all right, like, let's do it. And we had like 60 or 70 people the first year. And years went on and we got really big names to come. Scott Needham. We had Amazon Lit comes every year. We got like our speaker lineup's insane this year. We got Watch Me Amazon. We basically have like everybody. And back in the day, like we invited Miles to speak because he wasn't even really selling on Amazon that much. He was like a little bit, but he was more of like the index funds guy. I'm like, let's just, share how much you're selling index fund or how much you've saved index funds. He was like, I'm too nervous to speak in front of that many people. And he spoke last year and he's going to speak again this year and probably be like the favorite speaker. So that just goes to show like how much people can grow over time. But that was really the start of it, was just like we were at Airbnb having a few beers and we're like, let's do this. And I think there's a huge need in the market just for like for everyone to get together in a room with like a like-minded mindset of building Amazon businesses. Like that's really where the magic happens. Like I can't take credit for the chemistry and for the way the event plays out. It's not me at all. It's like, it's all of us together just having this collective goal. And all of us are so nerded out over Amazon that you don't even need alcohol. Like you just put people in a room like that and boom, it takes off.
Happens. Yeah. I remember last year we were having like lunch with like Reezy and like all the people that we always like looked up to, and we ended up seeing Miles for the first time. So we ended up taking his course, and it was unbelievable. Such a great time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, Romer, thanks for coming on, man. This was a great conversation. Also, we are very much looking forward to Miami Sellers Conference this year. What are the dates again?
It's going to be March 15th, or 15th is gonna be free network, not free networking, but networking. It used to be free in past years, but this year we're gonna have so many people that we're just gonna do it at the venue. So March 15th is Friday, networking 16th is Saturday. That's the first full day of the event. Then 17th is the second full day, and then we go on the yacht then Sunday night. So you guys are gonna be doing a panel, right?
Yes.
I mean, you guys can both hop on the panel. I'm fine with that. And so yeah, super excited to have you guys speaking at the event, and it's be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, so we're gonna be on the panel about transitioning from online arbitrage into wholesale. So we'll be there. Very much looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great time. Always fun to be in Miami with the squad.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening. Robert, thanks for coming on. We will catch
100%.
you guys on the next episode. Peace.